Well, you guys, I thought today we'd go with a topic that doesn't get anybody worked up and typically people don't have a lot of passions about, but still might be something worth discussing is who wins in 7 months, Biden or Trump? Now, this is going to be, I think, no matter which way it goes, I think we're going to have another ding dong down to the wire finish again. And the interesting thing to me, one of the interesting things to me, really is going to be no matter who wins, the fallout directly afterwards. It's hopefully everything holds together entirely, no matter who wins this election. But I'm always interested in hearing you guys' takes on it. You guys know I've told you many times I'm a stat nerd. I like stats and polls and all that stuff. So I watch the polls all year round. I I I think I confidently, yeah, I didn't say that confidently. I confidently feel like I know who would win if the election was held today, but it's not being held today. We've got 7 months, and in politics, 7 months is several lifetimes. Excuse me. Chinese duck sauce says, I think they both suck, so it doesn't matter. You'd have a lot of people right on that bandwagon with you, riding that bus. I'll be the first to admit, I think in a country, what are we at? 370 million people, 350 million people? These are the two best? Wow, we're sad. Just a shit show, Aaron says, yeah. Arquander says, don't count. No, but we're not counting anybody out. Um, you can't really, Winder, I'll tell you this, just being somebody who, again, watches polls like a nerd, this one's going to be so close. The Biden versus Trump polls are probably not going to mean a damn thing. You just have to go to the swing state polls because we've seen over and over, and it's, the electoral college is how we put a president in place. So the popular vote really doesn't have necessarily anything to do with it. And unless something extreme happens on one side or the other, the leads that anybody has as far as head to head in the polls, I believe between now and then it's going to be a minuscule difference. It's not going to be enough of a difference to tell who the winner would be. Well, thank you, Dr. Dirt. That was very kind of you. I appreciate that. Gifted 5 memberships. Who got them? Chrome and Mortem? Richard, Kevin, and Wolf. Nice. I appreciate that, Dr. Dirt. Appreciate that a lot. Gabe says, I think Trump will just barely win against Biden. I don't know why Trump doesn't have a VP yet. Good point, Gabe. I think it's to his advantage. Well, obviously to make a good VP pick, but to name that VP as soon as possible. Because there are a lot of people who just hate Trump. And a good VP pick could absolutely be the determining factor for a lot of people. So I do agree with you. I think just being a poll watcher, that sounds a little perverted, huh? I think if the election were held today, I think Trump wins because he's got too much control in the swing states right now. No, we have not. Wolverine says we've never had a person win an election, lose the next one, then win the one after that. No, that would definitely be a first. Chrome says, I think Trump should win. He's up in every swing state, but I don't put it past Dems to pull shenanigans. They're trying to throw him in jail. Yeah, I mean, I do agree that a lot of Trump's legal issues are 100% political. Now, it also bears saying that Trump put himself into positions where he could make it easy for them to try and make a case against him. But then again, anybody who's been a business person with that level of success would be in the same boat, I believe. Ashman says it's surreal for Trump to win, but if it's possible, I'm personally for Biden, although I am not ride or die for him. I think that's the way a lot of us are, unfortunately, Ashman. in this election because I'll be voting for Trump, but like you say, not only am I not a ride or die, I've told you guys over and over, growing up in New York, we're very familiar with Donald Trump, or living in New York for many, many years, for most of my life. I think I've never liked him. Never liked him as a person. Always thought he was a douche. But unfortunately, for Democrats, for me, I've told you, there, my number one issue, because all I think about now for me is how things will affect my kids and grandkids. I'm old. The policies put in place today, very few of them are going to have a significant effect on my life. I worry about my kids. And anybody who pushes or is even in the realm of pushing for a system where you pay more of your money to the government to allow them to distribute it back is somebody I will not vote for, because our government has never shown an ability to do that. And I think that could financially ruin the younger generations. And so that's I mean, there's a lot of other issues as well, and I go back and forth on a lot of them. But that's the biggie for me. Arkwinder says, correction, Grover Cleveland is the only president served. Oh, Grover Cleveland did it? I did not know that, Arkwinder. Grover Cleveland is the only president to serve non-consecutive terms. I did not know that. Huh, no kidding, that's cool. I learned something today. Dr. Dirt says, I think Kanye is going to come in and sweep the election. The way Kanye's going, Dr. Dirt, he might come in and sweep up after the election. He might be doing janitorial duties at one of the at one of the parties or something. Excuse me, sorry guys. MZW says, I don't know anything about politics, nor was I ever interested, but this is interesting. And that's fine. You know, I've said this before, last election season, we were talking about, excuse me guys, my throat's getting rough here. I've never understood this whole push to try and guilt trip everyone into voting. I don't get that. If somebody's not interested, why try to make them feel bad for not voting? If you're not taking an interest in the candidates, and especially nowadays, oh, sorry about that, Afro Mike, you could actually see why. Because it's not far from the truth to say it doesn't really matter which one gets in, we're screwed anyway. Because I don't personally believe that any significant number of politicians on a national level truly have our interests at heart. They have their own interests at heart. Whether that's cynical or not, I believe it's just the way life is. So why try and push people who are telling you, well, I'm not interested, so I didn't pay attention. And they say, well, you got to vote. Well, that person's saying, no, I don't want to vote because I'm not following it. I don't want to just throw a vote in there because somebody's hair is better than the other guy's or something. Oh, I agree with that, Chinese duck sauce. Duck sauce says, what I do know is that the fallout is going to be way worse this time around because the country is way more divided on many things today than it was even in 2020, 100%. And that makes no difference who wins. There is going to be unbelievable angst, fallout, hopefully not violence, no matter who wins. That could be Chrome. Chrome says because the people who tell you that sort of thing are relying on you voting without thinking. Yeah, I guess some people would be saying that, hoping that the people who don't take an interest in it will just fall their way, I guess. Yeah, because I've never understood that. Don't push people to do it. I do follow politics, but man, especially in the current climate, I can completely understand somebody just wanting to say, nah, it's not going to make a difference anyway. And to a large degree, you're probably not wrong. Excuse me, guys. Austin says, what do you think of the world today? Who do you want to win the election? The world today, as was just stated, is more, this country is far more divided than it's ever been in my lifetime. You know, and I lived through the hippies versus the, the man type thing. I can't think of the expression I want. But the hippies versus the conservatives, and it's never been, the vitriol has never been to this degree. A lot of that is simply because of the times and social media. Social media is the great divider in the world right now, and it's specifically in this country. Excuse me. And I can tell you, I think as far as the most disgusting people walking around, I would put those who will victimize children at the top, and then right below them are people who utilize social media just to try and foment animosity. And you've got a lot of, well, Twitter is obviously the stronghold for that type of activity. And you have people on there who look to divide us by political affiliation, by race, by anything they can, simply for engagement. And it works. Unfortunately, large numbers of people buy right into it. If you're saying what they want to hear, they don't care if it's true. They don't care if the person saying it is absolute garbage. They'll just jump on board because, like, yeah, go team. And that's really unfortunate. I despise those people. Anybody, to me, that has a large Twitter following because they're on Twitter is probably junk. And by that I mean, okay, if you're following somebody because they're an actor or an athlete, or you're following them because they are a journalist, TV star, somebody who, even reporters, somebody who has a job, a paying job that that works in the field of politics or in the world of entertainment, that's fine. That's one thing. Of course, you're going to follow them on their social media. But if the person you're following has a large following on social media that they generated from social media, you can bet they got there with a bunch of really shit, underhanded means. Henry says, I heard rumors that Trump might pick Ben Carson as his VP. That could be. I don't think that would necessarily be a good pick for him. And I like Ben Carson. Don't get me wrong. I'm talking about how, as far as Trump's best bet. And if it's a race thing, if they're saying, pick Ben Carson, help you with the black vote, I don't think it really does. Last I saw now, of course, it's been years since Ben Carson was of note politically, but he never really had all that strong of a people of color backing. It's certainly better than Trump's, but if that was the route he's going, I think there are better selections for him. Hey, Nick says, just got here. I don't like either one of them. Yep, and I wish we had different candidates, but I will vote Trump if I have to. It's really sad. How many times now just in our brief conversation here, how many times have we seen this exact sentiment that Nick's saying? Isn't it sad? I mean, people, as I said, 350 million or however many people in this country, and we came up with two dudes that very few people get excited about. And two hugely flawed candidates, without question, hugely flawed candidates. I think, you talk VP picks, and I said this at the time, if Biden loses, I think you can trace a lot of that all the way back to him picking Kamala the first time. Kamala Harris was not even popular within her own party. I never understood why he picked as a running mate somebody who is getting what did she have, in the primaries there, 3% of the vote in her own primary? And actually, if memory serves, again, if we're talking race issues, Biden polled better with people of color than did Kamala. She was a terrible pick. She's just, my opinion, and I think a lot of you will agree with me. And again, throw teams out just as a person. As I said about Trump, same thing with Kamala, and that just not likable people. Not at all. She's got, her laugh is very disingenuous, and it was just a bad pick all the way around. Chrome says, honestly, I'm pretty tired of hearing that sentiment. If you want a candidate who represents your views, either find one to build them up or go into politics yourself. If you don't, nothing changes. Okay, well, that's a big ask. So, Chrome, what you're saying is if you can't find somebody who fits your specific worldview, then you would have to go in there and get in the mud yourself. That doesn't, I don't agree with that. I mean, just because it's said that they're not enthused for either one of them doesn't mean they weren't enthused for somebody else that got left by the wayside, because the Democrats wouldn't let Biden even have any competitors this time. They just immediately said, he's our man. That's it. You guys are out. And Trump, because of his core base, nobody else really ever had a chance against him. Harry says, I'll vote Biden if he gets Obama as vice. Can he do that? I don't even know. Does anybody know that offhand or can look that up? That's interesting. I don't think Obama would do that anyway, but is that legal? Because that, if something happens to Biden, which at his age is a legitimate concern, then you would have a president serving his third term. You can do that, Arkwinder? I didn't know that. Yeah, that is interesting. I hadn't even thought about that, to be honest with you. I have no idea on that law. He can, and Jeff says yes, and Dead Palmer says yes. No kidding. I think he would have had to make that move by now, though. I think he's locked in with Kamala. But you're right. That would help him a lot. Owlcatcher says, what do you think about the binary nature of the U.S. political system? Seems to me it's making natural tribalism of humans even worse, because it's always binary, us versus them with no middle ground. 100% Owlcatcher. That's why I think we are in the position we're in, just like we're talking about. I mean, never seen division like this, ever. Excuse me. And again, and I'm not knocking technology. You guys know I'm a techie nerd. I love technology. But the fact remains, it's social media and the immediacy of information exchange, which by extension allows for erroneous information to be exchanged at a rapid rate, that has us where we are. There's little doubt about it. True. Ashenmint says, to be honest, there may be two parties, but parties have factions like libertarians, neocons, Trumpists, etc. True. Yeah, you're right, because each party has, we see that because we see that a lot with the internal strife in each party now, because both parties are dealing with extremists within their ranks, the Democrats and Republicans. And it's just what you're talking about. It's the factions within the larger party. That's true. And that's a lot of the hurdle jumping that each of these candidates has to do too. Trump's got to try and attract more moderate Republicans, and Biden has to try and attract the more extreme on the left. He's really hurt because a lot of the extremists on the left don't like his stance on the Israel-Palestine situation. I think with the way that's going over there, as long as that's still fresh in people's minds, I do think that's going to hurt him. Not so much that Democrats would jump over and vote for Trump, but that they'll either vote Kennedy or another third-party candidate, or they'll stay home. I think that's going to hurt him a little bit. Chrome says, I've seen it described as America has two progressive parties, the Dems, a 21st century progressive one, and Republicans, a 20th century one, but both fundamentally agree on expanding government powers. I think that's fair. You guys know me. I'm very much about, I believe the federal government should just act as an arbiter wherever possible. I don't like government being involved in our day-to-day lives any more than is absolutely necessary. And it's also why, let's take healthcare, for example. Yes, there's a healthcare problem in this country, but I think allowing the government to handle it all would be the worst thing we could possibly do. The cost overruns and inefficiencies will be insane. I guarantee it. The government cannot run anything, any major operation effectively, fiscally, ever. When have they ever? And I think there are some obvious solutions to all this, but again, no politicians want to work on obvious solutions. They want to work on big, grandiose dreams to try and appeal to their extreme bases. Big Purple Pop says, one cause voters are a huge issue with the two-party system. You can't vote on an issue and have to stand for things you hate. You can't vote on an issue and have to stand for things you hate either way. Well, yeah, and I wouldn't consider myself a one-cause voter, but especially with somebody like me, where if you take, I definitely, don't get me wrong, I'm not misleading you guys, I definitely lean right, and that's more I lean away from the left is why I lean right. But that said, if you go down the list of major topics, major issues, you'll see me going back and forth on them. So there are more that I lean right without a doubt, but you can take things like abortion. I'm very pro-choice, so that puts me over to the left. I always, like I said, with gay marriage, I guess it's just because, I've had gay friends since I was a teenager. I was always a big supporter of gay marriage. I always figured, to me, that never made sense at all, that people wanted to deny them that right. So that puts me on the left. But then I'm very, very firmly pro-Second Amendment. I'm very pro-strong borders. So, yeah, my sentiments exactly, Nick. Our government is too incompetent to handle healthcare. Now, I think the government has plans in place, system in place that could be better, but I do believe government should intervene on behalf of those who are unable to work and do for themselves, those who are down on their luck, all of that. And we do have systems in place for that. But there are some easy solutions to, okay, why not take, and I say this, I ask this as a question, but it's not a question. I know the answer why we don't do it. Take major corporations. First of all, this is another place I depart with the Republicans. We give way too many tax breaks to major corporations, way too much. There's, as I always say, there's just way too much frosting on the top of the cinnamon bun there. I always like food analogies. So first thing I would do is pull back on that. But then what you do is you say, if you have, and you'd have to work all the fine details, but if you employ over X amount number of people, you have to provide this minimum health care requirements. The reason I think it works better that way is because you keep costs down by turning it out into an open market. Because now, and I always use as an example Walmart and Amazon. Walmart and Amazon both have to now provide this basic health care. They want to keep their costs down to the consumers as much as possible. Walmart and Amazon are going to go to the insurance companies and say, okay, I've got this many tens, hundreds of thousands of employees, whatever it may be, make me a deal. I need you to fit these requirements, get these people health care, give me the best deal you can. When you start pitting them against each other, instead of just doing their bidding, that's when the whole system works. That's why I like the system of capitalism, because that's how it's supposed to work. What I don't like about the system of capitalism in America is how it's been perverted. Big Purple Pop says, never got the idea that taking taxes from corporations improves the workers' lives. The taxes come from the company profits and go to public service. I'm not following what you're saying there. Giant douche versus turd sandwich. Yes, that's Mike. You shouldn't lose healthcare because you lost jobs. Oh, and that's what I was going to say too, Greg. But I led in with that, but I didn't expand on it. As I said, I also believe in government helping out those who, as I said, can't do for themselves, are down on their luck. That's what it would be the same thing if you lost your job. I don't believe in the government providing health care for all. So yes, you do have to have a fail-safe system, absolutely. But it would certainly be an incentive for people to go out and work, and it would be an incentive for employers to get the best deals they can. This is the way, to me, you might start to get things like maybe prescription prices and stuff in line a little bit. Because if you got these major corporations who have to provide healthcare for a lot of people, if you've got them pushing against the pharmaceutical companies, against the insurance companies to keep rates low, you got a better chance of actually getting that accomplished than you do in thinking that the politicians are ever going to stick up for us and do it. Yeah. Big Purple Pop says, I'm a firm capitalist, but corporate tax breaks have become disgusting. They're ridiculous. They're insane. I agree with you 100%. And again, that's why I say I go back and forth. That would be considered a left stance. But yes, far too much is given to them. People talk all the time. You hear them say, well, the billionaires got to pay their taxes. Listen, it's not personal tax you have to worry about. That's a drop in the bucket. And they typically do pay a significant amount of income taxes. It's the corporations. It's the companies they own we got to get the taxes from. Chrome says, as someone whose family works in insurance, it won't work that simply. Put it this way then, Chrome. What's the superior option? In other words, we constantly talk about we've got to do something. Well, nobody's doing anything. We do a lot of talking about it. And again, I think the idea of having the government run our health care for everybody is a certain recipe for disaster. So, I mean, if you say, okay, that won't work, tell me why, and tell me what the better option is. Dead Palmer says, every year of my adult life, my health insurance costs go up and coverage goes down. But I'm lucky I can also use VA if needed because I'm a veteran. That helps. See, I don't proclaim to have done a great job in my life, as most people my age won't, of seeing the future. I can see the future. Of seeing the future. I did when it came to healthcare because I found a job that had excellent health benefits and allowed you to keep them even after you retire. And when I found that job, I said, no matter what else, I'm not leaving it. And there were other places I could go and make more money, but hell, I can make more money. I can work, which I did, second jobs. I can work third jobs. That health insurance was always huge to me. And so now I've been retired, from my day job since 2017. I pay no premium for my health insurance. And, well, to give you an idea, if I go to the emergency room, it's a $35 maximum charge. When I go to a doctor, if it's not just for an annual physical, those are covered. If I go to the doctor for something, it's a $15 max charge. The most I can be charged for a prescription is $25. So to say that there's no good health care in America is erroneous. But it's true that healthcare needs a lot of work. Chrome says, rip up the regulations, get the government out of healthcare. They should not be able to force people to get insurance. Oh, I believe that. Or to pressure corporations to get health insurance either. Okay, but now, Chrome, do you really think that just, okay, you rip up everything, and so what? Now you just tell the insurance companies, the pharmaceutical companies, have at it. Because if government's not involved, they will get no pressure whatsoever. I don't see how that's going to. Are we counting on their benevolence? I don't understand. How many people have this good health care? I'll catch it. The reports are. I don't know about specific health care. As far as people who like their current health care coverage. It's been a while since I read one, but they've done, and I'm sure we can find some online. Well, let me do it before I quote it, because there's probably been more recent ones done since I've read this. Let's put what percentage of Americans like their health care. See. Okay, overall 30. This is from Gallup. From 2022, overall 32% give U.S. healthcare an excellent or good rating, while 66% are this positive about their own coverage. Wow, that's higher than I thought it would be. For first-time Gallup, less than 48% rating, excellent or okay. Now it's to. So what year is this? Hold on, I got to read here. For the first time in Gallup's 2-decade trend, less than half of Americans are complimentary about quality of U.S. healthcare, with 48% rating it excellent or good. The slight majority now rate healthcare quality as subpar, including 31% saying it's only fair and 21% a new high calling it poor. Even with those numbers being down, that's higher than I thought. So you're basically at 50-50 as of 2022 when that poll was conducted. 50-50 of people saying that their health care is good. Big Purple Pop says, I'm lucky as Canadian. I have a single mother of 2 who worked until multiple disabilities took her out of the workforce. She's flat out told me she would off herself for being a burden in the U.S. But that's not necessarily true, though, Pops. And that I can speak to with having a disabled daughter, and we've provided care for disabled people for 30 years. The system for care for the disabled in America, I would say, stacks up with most places. Is it perfect? No. But does it take care of needs? Absolutely. 100% it does. And again, I'm talking from firsthand experience here. I don't think our issue with healthcare in America really extends to the disabled, if you're talking as per what would be ideal or the rest of the world. We're talking about the average, working folks out there. Inister Asteroid says we need to do away with pharmaceutical patents. See, that's a tough one, Asteroid, because you got to think of it both ways. I understand what you're getting to, and pharmaceutical companies have been absolutely slimy, 100%. I completely agree with that. But you do have to remember, sometimes tens or hundreds of millions of dollars do go into research to create a new drug or something. You have to allow those companies to at least have a patent on it for a limited amount of time to just try and get their investment back. I mean, fair is fair, because there is a lot of money goes into research. Sajil says, hi, all, you still running for president, old man? Nah, Sajil, I like talking politics with you guys. That's as far as it would go for me. Dr. Dirt says, hey, I just finished Invincible Season 2, and I can't wait to see your reaction whenever you get back around to it. Oh, yeah, Invincible? Yeah, I'd completely forgotten Season 2 had come out. Invincible was really, really good. Hey, Sajil. Well, welcome into the burners. Chrome says, I've just spent over 3 months investigating how insurance companies reacted to COVID claims. Government intervention won't work. It became clear as day as they got out of nearly all claims. Okay, but again, you're still talking apples and oranges, though, as far as if government being involved in one instance didn't work, it doesn't mean that you can't put a plan in place that would work. What I'm saying is, here in America, we've got to do something. And I will stand by that. I think that's your best bet, because, again, anytime you can get the market driving prices down, that's when you come out ahead. I love capitalism as a system. It's just that our system has been wrecked by the people who are in charge of running it. Just like, and it's true with every form of government, the people in power use it to their own benefit, not to the people's benefit. Nick says, I'm blind and I would agree. Oh, there you go. I do get good health care, although I'm lucky that I have my job, as I would not be able to live on SSI alone. That I agree with that too, Nick. As Nick says, and it's good to hear from somebody who's living it, and the same thing we've encountered with our kids, the health care for the disabled is not bad in America. It's really not bad at all. The disability SSI, yeah, you're not going to live on that. Now there are, I'm sure Nick knows, there are programs as well. You know, obviously you can get rent assistance, heat assistance, all that stuff as well. But it would be very tough to get by. Of course, with Nene, she's severely disabled, so she'll be with us forever. So she never had to worry about paying her own bills. But the health care that the government helps her with now, she's on my insurance as well. So that, you know, my insurance takes care of a lot of it too. But still, what the government provides is of very decent quality. First Wave Negativity says, the issue with American healthcare is price, but it is important to notice the U.S. subsidizes the rest of the world because Americans bear the cost of research that other governments use for free. That's 100% true. That's why I say it's tough doing that balancing act with the pharmaceutical companies. Because I know we're all conditioned to hate the pharmaceutical companies, and I'm not denying the fact they pulled some really slimy shit. We've experienced it. But you do want the best and brightest minds in that field if you want people to continue to have long, healthy lives. And they do deserve to make a profit, and they certainly do deserve to be able to get back their investments that they put in research and everything. I can give you guys an example. Because Renee has, and for those who don't know, Renee is my stepdaughter, and she's multiply disabled. Her seizure activity is the biggest issue she has and has had for some time. Well, all the seizure medications, unfortunately, over time, you can build a resistance to them. So now she's been on something called Onfi. And was it the Onfi? I'm trying to remember which medication it was that did this. I believe it was the Onfi. But anyway, what happened was there was a medication that existed for one reason. The pharmaceutical companies discovered that there was, it also served a purpose cosmetically. And when they discovered that, the price shot through the roof. Now, what happened with us was Renee was prescribed this medication to help with her seizure activity, and it did. It made a significant difference. The price was outrageous. The insurance companies were haggling over it. Oh, they can't afford to pay this, blah, 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 blah. When we first got it, and we had and unfortunately the gentleman has passed away, she had a neurologist at the time who was brilliant. He was really hugely respected in the community, one of the best neurologists in New York. And he heard about the issues we were having with getting it done, and I still don't know what he did. All I know is he went to the pharmaceutical company involved, and after he got done talking to them, we had no more issues with getting it filled. So all I can imagine is he said with the amount of respect he has, the number of patients he has, because I guess he was an overseer of several different labs and healthcare facilities. And I guess he basically told this pharmaceutical company that made this drug that we need, I'll be done with you if you don't figure something out. And they figured something out right away. Sajil says, damn it, can we still take over without you running? With the muskets and bayonets? I'm too attached to the dream now. I'm sure we can work something out, Sajil. We absolutely will work something out. And, well, I was going to make a joke about, I'm struggling how to put it, about what it would take to get me to reconnect with my campaign and try and get the job, but I can't make that joke without YouTube giving me a strike. So, or just closing down the channel. Negativity says not as serious, but it's the same exact thing that happened with Ozempic. A niche drug finds a more widespread use and demand skyrockets and it fucks over the original users. Right. I've heard that there were other things that happened this way. And this one, well, this Onfi is insanely expensive. But the good thing is, too, they're only, as we talked about, their patents and stuff do run out. And it did. And so now other companies can make what's the word I want, guys? For the no name brands of drugs. The terminology is going right out of my head. But basically when generic, thank you. I don't know why that word wouldn't come to me. Thank you, guys. Can make it generically, and that's brought the price down some. Not as much as you would think. I guess from what we've been able to glean, though, this Onfi and its generics, it's not really jacked up. It really is that expensive to make. Whatever goes into it is just wildly expensive. Wolverine says snoo snoo needs to be a viable unalive method. That's how I would want to go. Sajil says every morning I put 20 cents on Trump, $1 on weekends. Well, and that's what we were talking about earlier. And I'll tell you guys why I know we got away from the main topic. I'll tell you guys here why I think right now it would be Trump's race to win. Let me see. Okay, I've got the map in front of me. Now, this is the 2020 Electoral College map, okay? And it was Biden 306, Trump 232 in the Electoral College. Now, every single state Trump won should be Trump's again. North Carolina, there are some questions, but polls show, and I live here now, and you really get the feel I don't think Trump's losing this state. So that was the only one Trump really needed to defend. All the other questionable states are one that Biden won. So let's do the numbers. This is why I say as it stands right now. Arizona, the average in the polls. Now this is averaging out all the polls because you get the outliers. So when you get an average, it's a better telltale. Have Trump ahead by 4.5 points. That's significant. Typically, and again, I know people like to poo-poo away the polls, but I follow them. There's a lot of them that are pretty good. They usually come within a few percentage points. So if Trump wins Arizona, that gives him 11 more Electoral College. That would bring him to 243. Now, let's see. Nevada is over 3 points leaning towards Trump. If he gets Nevada... 6. So that'd be, what did I say? That's a total of 17. That'd put him at 249. Now, Michigan has been surprising me. Michigan, Trump has a 3-point lead. If Trump holds Michigan, it's going to be tough for Biden. Michigan's got 16 more. So that's 16, 27, 33. That would put him at 265. So basically, if he won those 3 where he's leading significantly, and he takes any one of Wisconsin, Georgia, or Pennsylvania, he's in. And I think he wins Georgia. I don't think he wins Pennsylvania. I do think he wins Georgia. So basically, as it stands right now, if the election were today, I think Trump wins. Ashton Mint says, is there something I like about U.S. elections that's always a spectacle, no clear winners? Yeah. The last one I remember that was roughshod was when Nixon beat Mondale, was it? Did Mondale get one state? I think that was the last one I remember that was just a total whitewash. Negativity says Biden is in a pretty weak position, but Trump would have to still flip 3. Biden only needs to hold 1. Um, no, let's see. No, Biden would need to hold. Well, it depends on which one. I think he would need to hold. Let me look again at the math. I think he would need to hold at least two. Let me see. If he holds Pennsylvania, yeah, he'd need to hold at least two. Because Pennsylvania, of the states that are true battlegrounds, is the most electoral college votes with 20, and yeah, he would need to hold more than one. Now there are two state combinations that could give it to him, but only certain ones. Kyle says, got my wisdom teeth removed today. I'm pretty excited for WrestleMania. I'm so pumped for WrestleMania. Chrome says, question, do you think we'll see a debate between Trump and Biden? Biden has flat out refused to debate him, even if he offers ice cream, but he will golf him. I don't think, Chrome, I don't think we'll see a debate. Biden's people knew what they were doing when they said right away they wouldn't debate. I think that could hurt Biden as we get closer to it, because you know Trump's campaign is going to make a point of that. Because the debates, presidential debates, have always been hugely popular. People do like to see the candidates go head to head. I think that's going to hurt Biden a little bit. And I do think there's a very specific reason why Biden's people won't let him debate, and I do not think they'll veer from it. I don't think we'll see any debates. Solaris says, I am honestly shocked Trump and Biden are the two choices. It's sad. Did Americans just have amnesia that covered specifically the last 8 years? It really is sad, Solaris. As much as I'll admit on both sides, there's not much in the way of stellar talent behind either one of them. But I think there are plenty of people behind each of them that would have been better candidates. And as somebody mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I think is very true. I think Trump's VP pick, in this election has the potential to be one of the most important as far as swinging the electorate VP picks in a long time, for a number of reasons. First of all, which is that so many people just don't like Trump. But beyond that, you got two really old guys going after it. More than ever, it becomes, okay, let's look hard at who the vice presidential candidates are, because there's a real decent chance within 4 years we're gonna see that VP as the president. So that's going to be real interesting to see who he picks. Henry says, don't you think Gus Fring would make a good president? Magnificent president. Gus would get shit done, and always with that calm demeanor the whole way. Kaiser says, in Ireland, Leo Varadkar stepped down. Everyone suspects that right before that, his party blew billions on a sudden referendum to change the definition of mother at home that had a majority no vote. Wow, what? Oh, I haven't even heard about that, Kaiser. I'll have to look that up. Well, you know how it is here in America. We don't see anything really of international news unless we look for it, because what passes as our news organizations, I mean, it's a misnomer to call them news organizations, but what passes for news organizations here don't see enough allure in the clicks with international news. Sajil says, still Spazgil, using this account for university too, since I'm back in school now, so change my screen name. I haven't forgotten my roots, so I appreciate that, pal. I appreciate that a lot. What do you, I'll try and remember to watch, what are you studying, just out of curiosity, Spazgil? What are you studying in school? Austin says, Biden is better than Trump. Do you agree? Do you think Trump is better? And thoughts on Obama, and do you like him? I'm voting for Trump, but I've outlined the reasons. It doesn't have anything to do with personality, and has everything to do with platitudes, with where they stand on the issues. Obama, falls in the same category. I mean, has the same basic political structure as does Biden. If you're talking as people, I don't know if you mean people or candidates. As people, Obama was one of my favorite presidents. I think Obama, despite the fact that I don't agree with him politically a lot, I think is a good dude. And not so much Biden and Trump. Chrome says, any thoughts on the Disney investor meeting fight? Bob Iger's people were all reelected. I saw that and stock dropped. Disney spent over $70 million to fight their own investor. Yeah. You know what it means though, Chrome? It's just like everything else. Disney will keep making movies that tank. They'll keep doing stupid shit like this that costs them money. And then all of us who enjoy the theme parks will pay for it because that's the only thing they own that turns a profit. And they'll just keep sticking it to us. Big Purple Pop says, extremists who never won a popular vote versus only policy is not being that guy. Round 2. That's well described, Pops. You're 100% on. To be honest, as a Canadian, we're mostly the same, but 40 years younger. From what I've read, and I'm obviously you Canadians, I'm sure, are more well versed on it. Isn't Trudeau in a lot of trouble up there? And again, we're talking polls. From what I heard, the polling up there has him on life support, or 1 foot in the ground already. Spagio says, thank you for asking. Made my day. Psychology. Oh, I've always been a psychology fanatic at Carleton University in Ottawa. And it's going great, especially considering the 4-year break. Oh, good for you. No, it's been, ever since, what really got me interested in psychology is just the hypnosis. When I learned to hypnotize people and started trying to find more information about hypnosis and stuff, it's got me really into the psychology angle. That's very cool. Very cool. Dimmy says, Disney got that I don't give a F money. Yeah, they do, Dimmy, but they got it off the backs of idiots like me who like going to the theme parks. Because everything else they own is turned into crap. They lose money on their movies. They lose money on Disney Plus. Jeez. Above Average Gamer says, I was so sad when our Canadian cousins couldn't get enough votes to kick Trudeau out. Yeah, but and again, this is just what I read because, again, I like polls. I like stats. From what I'm reading, his poll numbers are the worst they've ever been currently. It's really, really rough for him. Chrome says, yeah, the theme parks. That was actually hilarious during the investor meeting. Iger claimed he built Star Wars Land over 7 years ago to fight Super Nintendo World and Universal's new park. Iger, I used to have, I shouldn't say a lot. I used to admire Iger. I don't really admire him anymore. He's just a hack like the rest of them. It's unfortunate. I've been thinking too about we might and there's 40 some of you in here with me. See what you guys think. I might try because my schedule's been so tight to set up a regular schedule of streams that will be specifically designated as podcast style streams. We'll have a podcast listing here at YouTube for those streams, and those will be the topical ones like this. What do you guys think? You guys enjoy stuff like that? Just take different topics all the time? Kyle says, did you hear about McDonald's getting Krispy Kreme donuts? I did. I'm a fat guy. I stay on top of stuff like that. I'm excited because I've never tried a Krispy Kreme donut before. Really? Oh, they're stupid. They're ridiculously good. And I've been eating well, working out again. So it kills me because Food Lion is my favorite of the markets that are close to us. And I go through Food Lion and they have the Krispy Kreme boxes pre-made, half dozens or dozens. I go buy it. I actually let out a whimper. I don't care who hears it. Spazio says there was a whole section in our textbook on hypnosis. And as a longtime Spaz boy, I pretty much knew everything as you already taught me. Well, that's cool. Yeah, that's what really got me into it, Spazio. I continue to be. I've always been fascinated by hypnosis, no matter how many thousands of people I've hypnotized. It's always interesting to hypnotize someone else because of the just to see the way people react. And it's satisfying because there's been a lot of times where you can really help somebody out in dealing with pain or most commonly dealing with insomnia, stuff like that. Yeah, yeah. So ever since then, I've been a nerd for all things psychology. Luke says, can't stay, but I think Biden and Trump should kiss. That would be based. I would agree. It would be baseless and so disturbing. And I say that meaning that seeing Trump or Biden kiss anybody would just, I don't want to see that. Kaiser says, just saw Gundam Seed Freedom in cinema today. Funny enough, despite being a Gundam Mecha fan, I never got to see a Gundam movie in theaters. Oh, that's cool. It was very nice and epic. Battles were amazing. That's cool. Yeah, I know. With being the fanatic for Gundams like you are, that had to be something really, really cool and different. Big Green, when the cream is crispy. I don't know. I never tried them. Oh, boy. Guys, they're just so good. So good. I like Dunkin' Donuts, but Dunkin' Donuts is here. Krispy Kreme is, yeah, just way off your screen. It's not even in the same ballpark. SNDS says, no donuts for you. You need to get in shape for one more goal in this squared circle. That's actually at the core of it, Essen. That's what I'll have to check. Do you know I had let my weight go up to 304? And last I checked, it was down to 296. I got a long way to go. Spagio says there's a theory hypnosis is just elaborate role play. Another that is a different, separate state of consciousness. Well, my understanding of it, Spagio, from, and again, this is reading I've done from people way smarter than me, and it clicks because, again, I've hypnotized so many people that what I read from these people makes absolute sense for what I saw. Is it simply just the state of allowing your subconscious to be the decision maker? You know, there's a lot of, not a lot, there's a number of moving parts that go into having that take place. But in the end, that's all it is. It's just getting that total state of relaxation where, you know, with the conscious mind willing to take a back seat, you're not making decisions anymore. That's why people will do silly things under hypnosis. It's just because as long as it's not something you find personally objectionable, which will bring the conscious mind right back into things and say, no, we're not doing that. If it's just something silly, the subconscious mind doesn't care. It's like, yeah, that's cool. Oh, you want me to cluck like a chicken? Oh, bark, bark, bark. I don't care. That type of thing. It comes in handy for, I know, well, you would know better than me even, most all psychiatrists utilize hypnosis in some form or another in their fields, in their practices. Asherman says, I was always afraid of hypnosis. I probably tell people about my fetishes or something. No, you won't. Asherman, and I can tell you this, again, from many years of experience, and a lot of people have that fear, but you won't. Hypnosis, again, as I explained, all it is getting you in a complete state of total relaxation. And when that happens, your conscious mind is willing to just kind of take a backseat. Your subconscious mind starts making the decisions for you. So if I hypnotize you and give you the suggestion that the number 4 no longer exists, your subconscious mind is okay with that. So if I ask you to count to 6, you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Because the subconscious mind is like, yeah, that's cool. We'll do that. Now, if I give you the suggestion to tell me your deepest, darkest secret, immediately the conscious mind, it doesn't go away. It sits in the background, is going to come right front and center and take over and say, no, we're shutting this down and you will not be hypnotized anymore. Because you'll come around and you'll be like, you'll pop right out of it. I've seen it happen many, many times. You won't say anything that you wouldn't normally say. You won't admit to anything you wouldn't normally admit to. Your conscious mind never gives it up. It just sits in the background taking a rest. Right. Big Green says, not unless you secretly want to tell people about your fetishes. And even then, pal, secretly, it may not work. If you really want to tell people about your fetishes, sure. But if you add the word secretly, you still probably wouldn't do it under hypnosis. That's why I've had people come to me. I think I've told you guys this. I had a couple different people have come to me over the years and said, hey, can you help me? Can you do the hypnosis thing? See if you can help me quit smoking. I'll be like, sure. And you get talking to them and say, all right, well, how'd you start smoking? There's a whole series of questions you ask, and blah, blah, blah. And I've had two different guys say to me, oh, it's just my wife. She's on my ass all the time about it. Got to quit smoking. Got to quit smoking. Try this, try that. I said, so do you want to quit smoking? If it'll get her off my back. It's like, no, I can't do anything. I can't do anything for you. Hypnosis cannot make you want to do something you don't want to do. It can only help you achieve a goal that you are adamantly striving for yourself. So I can hypnotize you all day long, but if you don't really want to quit smoking, if you're doing it just so you won't get bitched at, it's not going to work. All hypnosis can do is keep that suggestion in your subconscious of ways to help you achieve a goal, not to change your outlook on life. Fuck no, dude, we're not doing that right, Big Green. Johnny says, so I can't hypnotize you and make you kiss me. Well, why would you need to hypnotize me first? Yeah, you have date rape drugs for that. Yeah, negativity. Well, a lot of people too. When I would do hypnosis shows, I would even explain to people early on, I try and assuage their concerns. And I said, a lot of people believe that hypnosis is mind control. And as I tell an audience, yes, mind control is a thing. But mind control typically requires weeks, months, years of some sort of torture, sleep deprivation, combined with drugs to actually achieve that mind control. And we just don't have enough time for all that tonight. Hypnosis is not mind control. It's simply giving your subconscious some suggestions. And whether or not you will keep those suggestions has everything to do with who you are and what your conscious mind believes. Basic mind belief. Yeah, so basically, like I say, if you do want to quit smoking, ODV, what I found doesn't seem to work that a lot of hypnotists have used, and maybe it works for them, is to tell you that, okay, say you want to stop eating chocolate cake. If I hypnotize you and say, chocolate cake tastes like dog shit, every single bite you taste is the most disgusting, vile thing you've ever put in your mouth. You know how long that's going to work? Oh, for about 2 minutes after you come out of hypnosis, because it's a lie. Chocolate cake is delicious. And your conscious mind knows that that's a lie. Even though you don't want to eat that chocolate cake, the idea of it tasting gross is stupid. If I'm going to try and hypnotize you and help you to stop eating chocolate cake, I'm going to accentuate all the reasons that you want to stop eating chocolate cake. I'm going to drill into your subconscious mind that yes, chocolate cake tastes delicious, but the reward or the risk reward isn't worth it. For those few moments of enjoyment that you get in eating a piece of chocolate cake, you've just made yourself feel worse about yourself, because obviously you're here because you don't like the way your body looks. You've greatly increased the chances of having health issues because chocolate cake isn't good for you. And if you point all that stuff out, then the conscious mind doesn't object. It's like, yeah, that's all true. That makes sense. So what you hope to get to is eventually you look at that piece of chocolate cake and go, oh, that looks really good. You know, it's just not worth it. That's what you want to get to. That's how hypnosis works. Yeah, repetition, gamer. And to achieve true mind control, typically, as I said, some form of torture and or drugs are usually involved. Unless you just have years and years and years to just keep grinding at somebody. Negativity says, I'm curious, if you get someone to think the number 4 doesn't exist under hypnosis and lift 4 fingers and ask them how many, what would they say? Oh, I do it all the time. Typically, I'll go to 5 or 6 so they count past it. And they'll usually, when I do that and land on 4, they'll just blank. Usually what you get is, okay, can you count these fingers for me? And I'll touch them. And if I said forget the number 4, they'll go 1, 2, 3, and then you get this. That's it. That's usually what you get. You get a blank slate because they don't have any idea. A lot of times, some people will say 5, but typically you just get the blank look. It's just like if I take your name away. Uh, I've had people, I had to give them, the one person, well, more than once actually, the suggestion that they had to stay in their seat because I gave them the suggestion that say your name is Derek. Well, now your name is Sally, and every time somebody calls you anything with Sally, it irritates you. I had to give people also the suggestion to stay in the chair because they were going to fight people over the fact that their name wasn't Sally. It's amazing what your subconscious mind can do. And again, conscious mind sits in the background, doesn't care about that. That's silliness. Your conscious mind isn't going to jump to the defense of you defending your name. Who cares? Austin says, what if Roman and Rock win, and what is your favorite ice cream? Mine is vanilla and pumpkin pie and sweet potato pie. Ice cream depends on the day for me. Again, as a fat guy, I'm an ice cream aficionado, and I really don't have one specific favorite. You know, if we go out for ice cream, I'll get something different 4 out of 5 times. Now, other than when we go to Dairy Queen, then I get the Blizzards. Oh, Blizzards. Blizzards are my killer. Chrome says, so how many times have you had to fist fight people you've hypnotized? Never. That's the good thing. If they're actually somnambulistic and they're in a state of hypnosis, Chrome, there's nothing to it because you can give them a suggestion that'll calm them down. Special says, look up for last 2 posts, please, if you don't mind. Sure. Hold on, let me see what Special said. Okay, there was 1, 2. They did an experiment at my university where people were told they were not going to remember anything after and were going to cough every few seconds. Then they forgot, but a week later, when they were back in the lab, they started coughing every few seconds. The researcher asked, why are you coughing? They said, I don't know, 100%. That's a post-hypnotic suggestion. Yep. And sometimes just to give the family and friends a laugh, I'll give post-hypnotic suggestions to people after shows, harmless things, like different little things, like, what did I tell them once? It was at Braxton's old school, and I did one of their proms, and it was the Fonda Fultonville Braves. So I gave a post-hypnotic that every time they saw someone with a red shirt, they would tell that person, go Braves. Something simple like that. And what generally happens with that is it just goes away. You know, after a while, your conscious mind starts looking at it and says, stop it, that's stupid. But what you described is entirely different, because then what you did there was you brought the person back into the situation that the subconscious mind remembered as where that suggestion was given. So that's why they circled back around. Rover says that cake analogy makes a lot of sense to me because I love chocolate cookies and would eat loads of them, but they give me the shit, so I guess my anus burning would put me off. And now that's something, see, Rover, and you make a good point. That's why if somebody asks me to help them try and beat an addiction or something, I always ask all the details about it, because that's actually good information to have. Because then while you were under hypnosis, that's another suggestion I would give to your subconscious is, as much as those chocolate cookies are delicious, they're not worth your asshole burning out. And because that's real. Again, your conscious mind isn't going to fight that. That's real. That's fact. So what you hope for is you get to that point where you've been given all these good details about reasons why not to eat those chocolate cookies, and eventually you start to go, fuck it, I just don't want them. That's what you hope for. Yeah. Johnny says we need to hypnotize the Bucks front office to do their job. Oh, I would make the trip to Pittsburgh on my own dime if they let me hypnotize them. All right, guys, I got to go. Hey, this is a great conversation. Thank you so much. And again, I'm going to try and stream as regularly as I can. I love doing this. I put some other stuff to the side just so we can start streaming again, because I've been missing it too much. And especially now, because we all like talking politics here. And once again, we had a political conversation, hour and 10 minutes, and it never got out of hand. Nobody ever had a fit, started calling somebody else names, anything like that. Where else do you see that on the internet? That's why I love you guys. I didn't. It got to be where I used to, I would always do that as a warning at the top of like a political stream. Say, listen, if you have to act like a psycho, there's no two ways about it. We're just going to ban you because we don't need that. But I hardly even remember to say it anymore because it happens so rarely. So I appreciate that. That was a really good conversation. I'm going to try and get a stream in. Oh, I don't know if I will. Tomorrow's Friday. Shit. I wanted to get a stream in before WrestleMania over at the Curtis Candy channel. That's where we do all the wrestling content, because I wanted to talk to you guys and get everybody's last minute ideas on WrestleMania. Maybe I can get one going Saturday right before it starts. But again, thank you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for all the good details. I learned a lot today too. You guys had a lot of details that I did not know about a variety of topics, which is commonplace here. But thanks guys, and I'll talk to y'all as soon as I can.